Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Batalla, and I'm here to warn you that I am a self-centered person. And given that, you have no idea of the sheer amount of greatness that I am capable of. But wait, before you judge me, please hear me out, because I have no intention of leaving this stage tonight without having taught all of you the value of self-centeredness. First off, what is self-centeredness? Self-centeredness is typically defined as placing the self-interest over the public interest. We lay at its feet the following social crimes: poverty, corruption, crab mentality, nepotism, and so on and so forth. Our culture disdains self-centeredness. For instance, why do we never forget the guy who ate the last piece of lechon last Christmas party instead of refusing it like the rest of us? Why does this lechon lover stick out as greedy in our heads? It's the Filipino paradigm, which is why we have a saying, "Mahiya ka naman! Have a little shame." Now, I don't know where this sense of shame comes from. It could be from our Spanish masters, who ingrained into our heads our worthlessness as Indios. Whatever the origin, the fact of the matter stands, that our sense of shame exists, and it has given us, ladies and gentlemen, a huge inferiority complex. Why do we look at the beauties and values of other nations before our own? Because we have been chided never to think of ourselves. We must have assumed that we are insignificant, not only as a nation, but also as individuals. We are insignificant because we have little value, and we have little value because we are flawed. So why be self-centered when we are all flawed in the first place? What are we really worth? Here are my 2 centavos. First, I believe that we are created flawed. We have weaknesses. Let's call these weaknesses shadows. The reason why our sense of shame is so prevalent is because we feel the need to hide these shadows. I will admit, for instance, that I am bad at math. But for me to accept it, is that wrong? You know what else I believe in? I believe that these shadows cannot exist without a light source. This is something we often forget about ourselves. We are walking miracles, brimming with our own unique gifts, our own unique talents. So I am bad at math. But the fact that I am speaking here on this stage, communicating something with you, doesn't that mean I have a thing for communication? That's my light. What's yours? Let's say that you don't get poetry, but you find meaning in the laws of physics. Or you like to help out in outreaches. Well, that's your light. We will bring these lights, these gifts, frontiers higher in the future as specialists, leaders, yes, even presidents, in a broad range of fields. And we will shape these fields with our own light. But we must never forget our shadows. After all, how can we aspire to be presidents who are accountable and responsible for others when we cannot be accountable nor responsible for ourselves? People like these come from all places. In my class, people suffer from weight problems. You're either too thin or you're too healthy. Extremes, right? But I have this fitness buff classmate named Ross. And it has always been Ross's admirable, if not peculiar, dream to make sure that we were all fit before we graduated from high school. Now, Ross, to achieve his dream, started this after-school fitness program with 2 things in mind. 1, fitness was Ross's passion. He had something to share about us with his lifestyle. But the second thing was, Ross, in his passion, was having a communications problem. He thought too fast and talked too fast that it was difficult for him to communicate with us, much less manage us. Did this stop Ross? No. He accepted this flaw as a part of him. And he stepped down as an act of humility to make other people who could get along with him better manage us instead. Ross not only conquered his adversity, but he made a system. And it's working. As of now, we have all lost a few pounds and gained a bit of muscle. But for every pound shed, 1,000-fold quantity of insecurity was shed off as well. For every bit of muscle gained, so too was gained 1,000-fold quantity of esteem. Ross revolutionized us by being a master of himself. And so, if I were to be the president of something, I would be the president of myself. Self-centeredness for me is not being the self-interested person over the public-interested person. No, it is, for me, centering ourselves. It is knowing who we really are. What are our lights? What are our shadows? It is our responsibility as presidents of ourselves to go beyond our sense of shame, our hiya, and to let our lights guide the way so that we may master ourselves. Because only in mastering ourselves can we go beyond ourselves and make others see that they too are worth more, that they too are the masters and the leaders of themselves. And there's nothing more powerful than a leader who is in charge of his or her own self. If Ross could do it to a small class, I don't see why the same could not happen in a school, a barangay, a province, a country. Change, social change is difficult, but change begins within us. And it does not have to end there. It only extends. The rest will follow. And now, I can walk off the stage and this spotlight. Because the spotlight is on you now. You are the center. So please, take center stage. Thank you very much and good evening.